This has always been, for me, a much better sound, a much better feel than other basses.
Expert reviews.
So this is the Fender P bass. P standing for precision. This is my absolute favorite line of bass guitars. I use this particular one everywhere I go, for every tour, for every show. The Fender P bass, in my personal opinion, is the absolute best for live playing and for recording, which is why I get use out of it everywhere I go. That's why I gravitate toward this one as opposed to other products. It's always been something I can rely on. This particular bass is a very, very simple design. The reason that I like the simplicity is that a lot of times you don't want to have a ton of things to adjust. In this particular case, the only knobs on this bass are a volume knob and a tone knob for the pickups. So the tone knob, you can shape it, you can make it more bassy, you can take the treble out of it, or you can crank it up and you can get a little bit more of that string sound. The simplicity of this bass offers creative freedom that other basses don't. I discovered the Fender brand. I was using my old bass, which I had gotten years ago at a pawn shop, and I was using it, and right before a show, I was doing a sound check and my old bass went out completely. Something happened to the electronics, something happened with the wiring, just wasn't working at all, and this was about 5 or so minutes before a show. That would have caused me normally to freak out, but one of the musicians from another band had a Fender P bass just like this one that he allowed me to use for the show, which kind of saved me in that case. So I discovered that P bass in sort of a moment of panic right before a show. It worked perfectly through the set. It was easier to play. It had just a better drop on the strings here. It had better action up high. So it was a superior instrument to my own bass that had gone out that day. And so I discovered it essentially by accident. And from that day, it has been my favorite bass guitar. I would recommend the Fender P bass for any musician that is playing bass, whether they're playing music in the studio, whether they're recording and tracking with other musicians. And I would also recommend this bass to any live players. There are a lot of phenomenal bass players that I know that already use the Fender P bass, but I would recommend it to anyone starting out. I would recommend that they get something like this, a reliable instrument, something that sounds great, and something that also looks amazing.